about arguing with you and how hard it can be, and whether she screams at us, how terrifying it can be, and things like that. And I saw quite a lot of comments about this on our social media, that it is probably very terrifying to argue with her, and it is. Believe me, this is the person I would never want to get in a fight with, because she is fierce. She is a beast, really.
Why do you still do that?
Because sometimes I have no choice. No way out. You just you attack.
Conflicting.
I'm not anymore.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not anymore, and you have to accept this. As a matter of fact, I changed a lot, and I'm less conflicting now.
Yeah. What about the recent messages we exchanged, like about further future releases and things? It's Misunderstanding and things.
But we calmed it down. There was no real conflict.
It's because I calmed it down.
It's only because of you. All right, let's move on. At some point, there were periods of time when, honestly, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. We constantly had arguments. We shouted at each other, yelled, and it just took time. It just took time, to find this, this state we are now. Now it's so easy to find compromises.
So what were some of the things that helped to change that?
First of all, that was when we got Vlad on the drums. We got him. Yeah, and I think a lot of things changed because of me. I used to be a very difficult person to work with. Yeah, for various reasons. Because of just my personal life problems. Yeah, and I was constantly in stress. Secondly, just because of my lifestyle. I think when I gave up alcohol, it changed a lot. Also, talking about the others, I think Roman changed a lot too. He managed to step over his ego, learn how to give more respect to people around him, musically, artistically. Because he is a very talented person and he has his own view. And at the beginning, I think it was very hard for him to, find compromises artistically with the others. This is what he learned. Yeah, and Tatiana is just Tatiana. She's just our princess. This is definitely not the conflicts and fights inside the band. This is not negative. This is a positive thing which drives the band, which may drive the band to new musical solutions, to some certain steps, and it can be really positive. Whether it just depends on whether you can control this or not, because sometimes fights and arguments just get out of control and then it ruins everything. Fortunately for us, we somehow we have overgrown that period. Yeah, and we still have fights, we still have arguments, but very, very rarely because of music. Mostly because of some routine things on tour. Because each of us just got sick and tired of the others. That shit happens. Fighting about music, at least on Wallflowers, we didn't have any. And on Macro, either. We didn't have any fights on Macro either. I believe that there are just two ways. You can just go in the way of harmony, like we are doing. And I'm really happy about this. So, changing our inner self by means of that, being able to change the whole atmosphere inside the band for the better. Yeah, and learning how to find compromises, learning how to simply understand the others. Yeah, learning how to respect the others and the other opinions, and of course, taming demons. This is very important. Taming our inner self demons. Or the other way, it's like
going for the disharmony, like many bands do. And this is the reason why they do not last long. Because they, instead of taming their demons, they feed their demons. And it helps them artistically at some point because they express all this negativity through the music. Especially with heavy extreme music, it helps a lot. But the side effect is that it doesn't last long. Just never, because it leads all these bands to the point when they just cannot get along with each other anymore because they hate each other.
It's very hard to say. Very often I just trust my intuition. And once again, I'm humble about myself, and I do think that the rest of the team is way, way more talented than me. And from this perspective, I easily, again, put aside my ego. I easily do so. Yeah. And after all, like you said, in terms of art, because this is art, it is never objective. It is never objective because there are so many different points of view. There are so many perspectives you can see something or listen to something, hear something. That is why, after all, there is no real right or wrong. Yeah, and in order to save your own nerves, in order to avoid stress, sometimes it's good to step back, step aside. Sometimes, of course, you need to push your ideas forward, but up to a certain point, just not to make it destructive. Because destructive thoughts and destructive atmosphere and chemistry inside the band will not make it any better. Definitely.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to compromise just to keep people around.
Sometimes.
If nothing else.
It all depends. It all depends. Of course, there is no perfect solution for every situation. But, again, it's a feature of a grown-up, band, group. Doesn't matter what you do. You may write music and make music like we do. You may be just a business project. You may be a company. And this is a feature of a grown-up company when, you all work, when there are people, when there is, let's say, staff, personnel, and they all work for their own collective aim and purpose and goal, rather than just doing their own shit individually. No, it doesn't work individually. There is some certain spirit of collectivism, let's say. Each person, when it comes to, a point of conflict, needs to ask themselves, first of all, are you right or wrong? Eugene, for example, me, I am asking myself constantly whether I am right or wrong, whether I am ready to compromise, whether I am ready to find some middle ground with the others or not. And very often, in 99%, I realize now that there is some space for a compromise. There is, and we can find another solution which everybody will be happy about. I think this is a feature of a grown up band, when everybody can really put aside their ego.